Let's get started. First of all, welcome everyone. Starting a new year with brand new goals is, from my point of view, extremely important. And essentially, our role, Lauren, Jenny, and myself, is to see those goals through. So you're all enrolled in an interior design program. Some of you are joining us from Melbourne, others from Queensland. We're going to be unpacking all that in a few minutes. And essentially, today's session will be around providing an introduction to who we are, what we do, and what to look forward to. So just to start with that introduction, let's start with myself. My name is Bruno. I'm the program leader for the Bachelor of Interior Design. I'm based in Melbourne. I'm currently on the Street campus. And for those who will be joining us on Thursday, I will be facilitating a similar session on that day for the on-campus and blended students. Joining us also this evening is our interior design coordinator, Jenny Woods. Jenny's been with the organization for the last 5 years and recently transitioned to working primarily within the Bachelor of Design. Jenny will be touching on part of the presentation this evening, and will also be around on Thursday for those joining us on campus. We will both be teaching you all at one point in your course, alongside a range of lecturers that we have within the team, some of which you'll be meeting straight off the bat on campus or online over the next few days. So let's officially start this session. I'm going to skip that slide and go straight to this one here. Welcome to our community. I figured we'll give you a bit of context. We have 3 campuses here in Collingwood, Victoria, and one which allows all our students who are studying online across Australia and across the world to come together. And this is via Zoom, our video conferencing tool, that you're all joining us for this evening. The actual Bachelor of Interior Design and the certificate for interior decoration are primarily hosted from our Cromwell Street campus. This is where you'll be able to access your interior design lecturers and where most of your subjects will be facilitated from. This is where you also be able to access things that relates to your industry, whether those are books, materials, finishes, and much more. A few blocks away, we have the George Street campus that essentially houses our fashion programs. There you have other students studying things such as fashion marketing or sustainable fashion design. And finally, a few blocks away, we have our Wellington Street campus, where we primarily facilitate our entertainment courses. This varies from music, entertainment management, audio, and much more. The beauty of being part of our community is that as students, you have access to all that. You have access to this amazing network. You have access to a range of opportunities and projects that are cross disciplines. Make the most out of those opportunities and be curious. And my recommendation is say yes to everything, irrelevant of opportunity, irrelevant of the field within which those opportunities will take place, irrelevant of the campus itself, because it will give you a whole different perspective on the industry itself and really allow you to infiltrate our community, community of industry practitioners, community of like-minded people throughout Collingwood, Victoria, and also across Australia and the world. So again, do take advantage of this. And if you're not based in Victoria, if you happen to be visiting Melbourne, do connect with us, drop in, come in and say hi, make the most out of, being in this community again. We've kind of touched on that before we hit record. I might just get everyone to, since we only have a few participants this evening, just putting you on the spot here, starting with perhaps you, Kirsten. Would you mind introducing yourself and perhaps giving you some insights as to where you're joining us this evening?
Yeah, so I'm on the Gold Coast in Queensland. I'm brand new to the interior design thing, so hopefully this is a good place to start.
Great. You're certainly the right place, and thank you for joining us this evening. I personally look forward to connecting with you in the first trimester and finding more about your actual goals, aspirations, and much more. Jenny, where are you joining us from?
So I'm in North Balwyn, so not far out of Melbourne, but that's where I live. But spend most of my time during the week with Bruno on the Cromwell Street campus. So yeah, so looking forward to sort of meeting all of you at some stage during your studies. Might not actually teach you in trimester 1, but definitely a little bit later in your studies. So yeah, looking forward to meeting you all.
Thanks, Jenny. In no particular order, and hoping that you're not driving right now, Michaela.
I'm not driving.
Just think about yourself. You've mentioned earlier, before we officially started the session, that you just came back from holiday. How was your break? And where are you joining us from?
I live in the western suburbs of Melbourne, so I'm from Melton area. I just got back from holidays, but I'm hoping that I can learn a lot from interior design. My family is building a house, and I've always been interested in it, so I think that I'll really enjoy it.
Fantastic, and welcome again. And finally, Chantel, we had a brief chat earlier. You have a slight different background in comparison to most of your peers online this evening. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and where you slot in, and most importantly, where you're joining us from?
Okay, so I'm joining you from Gisborne in Melbourne, and I'm a mum of 2 boys, and I've been studying online with another college, so open colleges, for the last 2 years. And I've transitioned across to I suppose a campus that will give you everything that I sort of I'm really nervous. That I'm after, the hands-on experience I'm after. So that's why I've joined ColArts, and I'm really looking forward to the journey ahead. So
yes. Thank you all. It's great to start that conversation with an understanding of each of us kind of paths, and essentially this is only the beginning of the conversation. Depending on whether you're enrolled in the Bachelor program or in the Diploma program, it will be, let's just say, an ongoing conversation. We get to know each other very intimately, and that will be for opportunities that will be providing you all, and long conversations around our passion for design. So let's have a look at this evening's agenda. We're going to be talking about your course structure, the academic expectations. We're going to be navigating through your learning portal that will give you some insights around how you'll be able to connect with your lecturers and access your subjects. We're going to be touching on the services and support that you all have at your disposal. And finally, we will be facilitating with Jenny a bit of a Q&A towards the end of the session. I would highly recommend that since we are a small group as well, we try to keep this as fluid as possible. So if you happen to have any questions throughout the presentation, just jump in. Let's try to unpack those accordingly. And the same applies here to you, Lauren and Jenny. If I'm going through something and you want to contribute to the content, perhaps share some insights that I may not have communicated equally, feel free to jump in and let's try to make this session as informative as possible. Most of you will be starting the course as brand new students. Now, our students on campus or online on a trimester basis have the opportunity to essentially shape their studies. One can opt to study full-time or part-time, and those conversations can happen on a trimester basis. In addition to looking at your enrollment from a full-time and part-time point of view, we can also explore different strategies around the delivery mode that you may want to opt for. So as an example, some of our students may, based on their geographic location, decide to primarily study online. For those who have the luxury of being able to commute to the campus, other options will be around studying primarily on campus or in a blended scenario. If in doubt, do connect with myself or Jenny or any of your lecturers once you're introduced to them formally around your options. And I'm going to be providing you all with my email address and my contact details at a later stage. So that'll be an opportunity for any of you or anyone watching that recording at a later stage to connect as well. A traditional kind of study experience for those who are studying full-time starting next week looks like taking on 4 subjects. Those 4 subjects are highlighted here on the screen, starting with creative theory, design drawing 1, color exploration, and finally, critical thinking. This student experience is carefully crafted in order to help you think critically, in order to equip you with a range of skills and knowledge around design elements and principles alongside design thinking. In this first trimester, you will also be learning a range of drawing techniques and rendering techniques in order to develop and communicate a concept to a range of clients. We will be teaching you a range of skills, theoretical and practical, around color and lighting, its relationship, theories behind it, and all that together will allow you to successfully complete your major trimester 1 project, which is an interactive installation for a cultural festival. These skills will be communicated to you across a range of subjects, and I highly recommend that you come to class if you're studying full-time and connect with your lecturers in an ongoing fashion. We understand that life from time to time comes in the way. If you can't make it to class, the beauty of our delivery is that you'll be able to, at any point in time, access the recordings of the lecture and also connect with your lecturers as well at a later stage. For those who are studying primarily online, you will have access to evening discussion sessions as part of your weekly timetable, whereby you'll be able to connect with your lecturers and talk about either the lectures that you've watched or attended live, or talk about your progress on any given assignment. That information will be provided to you within Canvas, our learning portal, and I certainly encourage you all to make the most out of what we have to offer, and most importantly, make the most out of what your lecturers have to offer. As mentioned before, they are all interior designers and architects and currently practice in those fields. They have a lot to give. And from my personal experience, the more you give them, the more you get. So try to put, in addition to your sessions on a calendar, some time that you'll be able to work on a weekly basis on your assignments. And be that person that emails the lecturer or connect with the lecturer literally every single week. Because at the end of the day, the more you give them, the more they'll be able to give you. Whether it's through critiquing your work in progress and providing some constructive feedback along the way, or simply challenging you as well in the way that you're thinking, the way that you're tackling a brief. Without wanting to make it sound like a big thing, please don't stress about that. We've been in this game for quite some time. We'll be obviously scaffolding that learning and making sure that we don't leave anyone behind. So don't stress about it, just ease into it, and the rest will happen organically. After successfully completing the first trimester, you usually have a few weeks of break whereby you'll be able to reflect and essentially straight off the bat around May 2020, you'll be transitioning to the second trimester where you will be learning a range of skills and theories around design movements, design drawing 2, materials exploration, and digital integration. In design movements, you'll be exploring historical and contemporary design movements. We will be sending you out to look at buildings, to assess those, to really develop a deep understanding of, various movements. In design drawing 2, we will be introducing you all to Revit, and drafting, whereby in that actual subject, you will be bringing to life a range of drawing documentation with a view to communicate on a technical level your ideas to an end user being a contractor in that particular instance. Materials exploration will introduce you to, as the name suggests, a range of materials, including soft and hard finishes, and also tap into things such as the circular economy and sustainability. And that is, from my point of view, one of those subjects that's an eye-opener and will get you to really think about your responsibility as a designer when you're specifying something, whether it's a piece of furniture, it's a material for a given project, and much more. And finally, digital integration will get you all to work on your first residential decoration project. And that will be a great opportunity to bring everything that you've learned in trimester 1 and trimester 2 together in response to a residential decoration design brief. In digital integration, you'll also be introduced to SketchUp alongside a range of workflows in order to visualize and communicate what you envision as a design solution, something to look forward to. Do we have anyone only enrolled in the diploma with us this evening? No? Awesome. I'll keep going then. If we have people watching this recording at a later stage, people that are primarily studying throughout the diploma itself, this second trimester will in fact conclude your course. We'll be having conversation throughout the trimester, making sure that what we have to offer really align with your aspiration, your course career outcome. Essentially, that would be a great opportunity to also look at probably transitioning to the Bachelor. And as I said, those will be conversations that we'll be having in an ongoing fashion. Trimester 3 is what I usually refer to as when things get real. Those 2 first trimesters are great foundation subjects. It's a great introduction to the design process. You'll be challenged, certainly bringing certain environments to life throughout those 2 first initial trimesters. And as we start through the 3rd trimester, we'll be kind of scaling up the sort of briefs and complexities that you'll be exposed to. We'll be also elevating that conversation to make sure that on one hand, we are having an employability conversation throughout each and every subject that you're enrolled in. And most importantly, working on a range of projects in order to create a polished portfolio that will allow you to get one step closer to your career goals. In that 3rd trimester, we'll introduce you to regional design culture. This is an amazing subject that will allow you to explore what's happening in our own backyard, but also in Australasia. We will introduce you to a range of construction techniques in systems and assembly. This subject often allows our students to work on what we refer to as a work integrated learning project, which is, in short, a life brief. So as an example, last trimester, the students that were enrolled in that subject had an opportunity to put a design together for our Cromwell Street campus. So we had our head of marketing and our head of operations that came in to introduce a brief. They followed our students' progress throughout the trimester, and they came back in week 12 with a view of providing each and every one of our students some feedback. In T1, our students will be working on an installation for Denfair. That's a trade show that will take place in June 2020. And as we progress throughout the academic year, we'll be introducing a range of different briefs just to provide those amazing learning experiences to our students. CAD 1 will be advancing that conversation within Revit. So essentially continuing the conversation around drafting, but challenging you to think about leveraging the software in more complex ways. Again, with a view of scaffolding those learning experiences. Design entrepreneurship will help you look at the nature of the industry, whether you're primarily interested in interior design or design as a whole, and challenge you to think as an entrepreneur. Often what we hear from our students enrolled in the course or students graduating from the course is that they're very interested in a very niche area of the industry. And this subject will allow our students to either create their own opportunities or align themselves with like-minded people in order to realize their actual course career outcome, whether it's very linear or something that's never been done before. So not only will be equipping you with entrepreneurship type of skills, but will also allow you to develop a range of skills that will allow you to communicate at a much higher level your ideas, whether it's for a pitch, whether it's for a client presentation, whether irrelevant of a context. Again, something to look forward to. Trimester 4 will allow our students to further develop their design skills in subjects such as design for environments, Design Studio 1, and CAD 2. An additional subject within that trimester is global industry and career. Starting with design for environments, we're going to be really looking at sustainability here and working on some exciting projects to making genuine impact in either Australia or across the world using design. So as an example, next trimester, our students will be working on a range of different concepts and strategies to tackle homelessness in Victoria. This is a huge problem, as some of you may be aware, with hundreds and thousands of people living on the street. And the subject will essentially ask the students to look at how to leverage design in order to either solve or mitigate those sort of issues. Understanding the root cause of a problem to start with, and slowly but surely applying elements of design thinking and design processes in order to offer a solution that's fit for purpose and that is in fact in response to the problem itself. Design Studio One will introduce our students to a larger scale residential interior design project. We'll be looking at things such as kitchen design, bathroom design, and we're very fortunate to have access to amazing sites for that project, as well as a range of information that's been provided by one of our industry partners, with a view of helping you through what we believe is a fairly realistic, accurate project that will be fairly similar to what anyone in the design firm will be working on. Again, where possible, we'll be taking you all to site visits or providing you a range of information that will allow you to get additional insights on the site, on the building itself, and so forth, in order to meet your client brief and, in fact, provide a holistic design concept in response to that brief. CAD 2 will equip our students with rendering skills. So for those who are interested in becoming a 3D visualizer, as an example, or want to be able to create photorealistic perspective or renders, think about when you're walking past a building that's under construction. Often you will see on a billboard an image representation of what the project will look like. Guess what? In trimester 4, you'll be able to create similar sort of visuals that will help you communicate to an end user what you envision, how you be repurposing the buildings or the sort of concepts that you may want to put forward. Global Industry and Careers, as the name suggests, is a career type of subject. So we're going to be having, again, a conversation in the trimester around your goals and working towards, within the trimester itself, making sure that we're doing everything we can in order to meet those goals, whether they are in Australia or on a global level. Trimester 5, again, constitute of 4 different subjects. In this trimester, our students will have an opportunity in Design for Experience to work on retail and hospitality interior design projects. CAD 3 will equip our students with advanced CAD and communication skills. I'm referring here to animation and virtual reality presentations. And finally, our students will have an opportunity here to work in portfolio development on their portfolios. Again, I'm sure that you can see a common thread here around employability throughout the course. Portfolio development is a great subject because it will allow each and every one of you to reflect on your journey, iterate or further develop some of those concepts that you would have already worked on, to provide a message that you will be able to use, or a portfolio that you'll be able to use, I should say, in order to apply for those jobs you're after. My recommendation is don't wait until trimester 5 to piece that portfolio together, start with your first trimester. Start to collate the information in projects that you believe represents the direction that you want to take, represents the skills and knowledge that you have, with a view of bringing all that together in trimester 5 or even before. We have students in the second or third trimester already transitioning to the design industry, and that's credit to them, credit to their hard work, and primarily due to the fact that they've leveraged each and every opportunities that was presented to them throughout their course. I hope that you all take that on board, and I'll be personally extremely pleased if before trimester 5, you've all already transitioned to the design industry. Finally, trimester 6, which is your last trimester, will allow you to explore additional, more complex design briefs and projects. Students will be able to work on things such as mixed-use interior design concepts. The image that we have here represents very complex environment, an airport, in fact. So that was a concept for the San Francisco airport that should be completed in 2020. And these sort of projects will really challenge you to think big, to think about a range of end users that will occupy the environments that you design every single day. So as capstone type of trimester, our students will be required to bring everything that they've learned to date to life in the context of this trimester experience. In addition to that, you will also be required to complete 120 hours of placement. We do have a range of industry partners that we'll happily connect you with. Having said that, though, we intend to also equip you with a range of skills and knowledge to be able to approach someone, whether it's for a networking event, whether it's for connecting with them via LinkedIn, via email, or simply just going and knocking at someone's door. You will need to complete that placement before the end of a course, and that will really allow you to get a taste for what's coming next. Often our students have an opportunity to work for an architectural or an interior design firm as part of that placement, and in some instances they have an opportunity to pick up additional work for those firms based on what they have on, based on how they went within placement themselves, based on how they were able to communicate the fact that they are assets to those firms. So those are conversations that we will be having in an ongoing fashion. The placements themselves doesn't necessarily have to be in trimester 6. If you have an opportunity that's presenting itself, do connect with either Jenny or myself. We look at how to manage that together. We will assess the suitability of the opportunity itself, and if we give you the green line, you'll be able to start working on completing those hours throughout the second year of the project. Again, we will be providing you with a range of additional opportunities that may relate directly to the interior design field, or maybe opportunities for you to shine in a different sort of context. Be curious, put your hands up for everything, and make the most out of what we have to offer in order to meet your course career outcomes. So we're going to try to do our best to align your career goals with the course and have those employability conversations from day one. Be receiving an email from me, hit reply, let's connect, let's get to know each other, let's get to understand those goals, And let's use this as an opportunity as well to talk about your workload. If required, we'll be looking at creating a success plan. We will catch up in addition to the subjects that you're enrolled in to make sure that you're staying on track, and most importantly, that you get industry ready. With that in mind, in return, we have some expectations. It's important that you stay on top of your studies whenever, and stay engaged with the course content, irrelevant of whether you're studying on campus, online, or in a blended approach. Please attend the classes, participate in the activities that your lecturers will be presenting in class, submit your assignments on time, and take responsibilities of your studies. In order to help facilitate that conversation, we will be giving you access to your online student portal, Canvas. Some of you would have already received an email with information as per how to access the platform itself. I figured I'd just jump online and give you all a quick overview of the interface. The actual URL is collartsinstructure.com.au. Follow the prompts provided in the email. If you haven't received anything, don't stress, don't panic. That information will be coming your way over the next few days. As mentioned earlier, you'll be leaving this session with my email address. If you're experiencing any sort of technical issues, this is one of many ways to communicate this. And I'm sure that between now and next week, we'll be able to, if required, troubleshoot and make sure that you all have access to Canvas. I'm going to open my browser here. Chantel, can you see my screen? Fantastic. Canvas itself, actually, let me go back one step. Oops. Once you go through putting in your login details and click on Login, the platform will give you access to all the subjects that you're currently enrolled into. Now, I'm an administrator, so I've got access to everything, so bear with me. The first subject that I want to introduce you to is our interior design online orientation. Clicking on that will give you access to a range of information that will help you over the next few weeks. You have information that relates to starting the brand new course. You have information that relates to the orientation itself, including a message from me and additional information that relates to the course. Tomorrow, there will be a link to the online orientation recording. And for those who may be watching that recording at a later stage, you will also have access to a 10-minute summary of that online orientation. This will allow you to, at any point in time, revisit some of the information that we've provided and troubleshoot as well if required. The interface is fairly clean and user-friendly. My recommendation is literally click on everything. You can't break the platform. Get a sense of what you have access to, not only in that orientation subject, but also through the subjects that you will soon, if you haven't already, have access to. I'm going to bring your attention to the Stay Connected tile. Here you have a range of contact details for our support team, as an example. And again, do familiarize yourself with the information that we have at your disposal. This will probably come in handy in the future. Going back to your dashboard will allow you to access other subjects. I'm going to scroll all the way down here and click on one of the first trimester subjects, which is creative theory. In here, a similar layout will allow you to, first of all, access information that relates to your timetable, and most importantly, the subject matter itself. You notice that everything here is laid out in a grid, and each and every of those tiles starts with a number. That number represents the week that we are in. So for instance, next week will be in week 1. If you want to access the information that relates to creative theory in week 1, simply click on that first tile, and that will give you some information that relates to the weekly topic itself. In here, you'll be able to access videos, readings, and finally, any sort of presentations that your lecturers will make available ahead of a session. So again, click on everything. Clicking here will allow you to view the presentation itself for week 1, and that will give you access to, the agenda and additional information that the lecturers will be using throughout the lectures themselves. In an ideal world, we would like our students to jump online and get a sense of what the lecturers will be covering ahead of a session. That will allow you to not only better prepare yourself and familiarize yourself with the subject matter itself, but also ask more meaningful questions if required, because you'll be one step ahead. So if you have a time, I certainly recommend you go in and click on everything ahead of the sessions. If you're time poor, just come in with an open mind, on time ideally, and use the actual classroom environment to familiarize yourself with the weekly content and whatnot. This is, in a nutshell, how you will be able to access your actual subjects. Within Canvas, you also have access to your calendars. Within your calendar, based on the subjects that you're enrolled within, you'll be able to filter and surface key milestones. So as an example, first to click on CAD 2 and jump to a different month. Essentially, throughout your calendar, you'll be able to see your assignment due dates and additional information that relates to the subject themselves. For those who are studying online, this is how you'll be able to access your online sessions as well, whether those are lectures or discussions. Your lecturers will be populating those over the next couple of days, and keep an eye for your actual calendars as you will receive some invitations to participate in lectures and evening discussions. In addition to that, a really good guide is to follow that snapshot of your timetable here. Keep an eye on those, put those in your diary, and that should give you additional information around when your sessions will take place and so forth. In addition to that, you will also be able to, by clicking on that inbox icon, send a message to your lecturers. This here works like your email address. You'll be able to click on that button here to compose an email. You'll be able to send that email to your lecturers. You have access to, by clicking on that address book here, everyone that's enrolled in those respective subjects. Creative theory as an example, you'll be able to choose between teachers and students. Compose your message as you'll be drafting an email, and simply hit send when you're happy. Your lecturers will be able to connect with you, answer your questions, answer your inquiries throughout that actual process. Some lecturers will also, within the subjects themselves, leverage what we refer to as a discussion forum. Going back to creative theory, those can be accessed over here. Often you'll be receiving notifications when someone is posting something. Do take notice of those notifications and use the discussion forum to stay on top of what's happening within that given week. Clicking on discussion will give you access to a range of discussion forum threads. Most of those at this point in time are still empty, and I certainly encourage you to jump in and, for instance, under the Introduce Yourself section, write a bit of a blurb, who you are, what you want to get out of this course, where you're joining us from, and so forth. That would be a great opportunity to start a conversation with your peers, with your lecturers, and essentially get to know a bit about your peers. There's a lot more that your lecturers will be introducing you to over the next few weeks. In the meantime, be curious, and when you have access to your subjects, literally take an approach of going in and clicking on everything with a view of familiarizing yourself with what you have at your disposal. I'm going to go back to the presentation here and pause for a minute and ask you all if you have any questions at this stage.
I just wanted to add something, Bruno, to what you were saying about Canvas. All your assignments will also be submitted via that portal as well. So everything that you do will actually need to be put into some sort of digital format, typically a PDF, or sometimes it's a recording or a link to a video that you might have made, that you've created a link in YouTube. So you'll be learning a lot of different skills in preparing your work for submission as well. But that's where you will actually submit your work, and it will be also, all your feedback will happen via the Canvas portal as well. So so your marks will be in there, and you will get written feedback on your assessments on your assignments from your different lectures within Canvas itself. So it really is that one-stop shop. Everything, it'll become your second home basically once you get started, and it's very easy to use. I've been using it for about 4 years now, and it's one of the best learning management systems I've used, and I've used a couple over the years, and this one's is particularly friendly. So so enjoy. Thanks, Bruno.
Thanks, Jenny. You've made me realize that I haven't clicked on assignments nor marks. Clicking on assignments will give you all access to your actual assignments throughout the respective subjects. Do familiarize yourself with this. Your lecturers will be contextualizing these, will be unpacking these, and will also be introducing you to the actual marking rubrics themselves. This will give you an understanding of what you're being assessed against, and those are really good guidelines around how you're tracking for each and every of those assignments. Marks is where you'll be able to access your grades. And something that I thought I'd just throw in as well is we also have a chat feature that will allow you to connect with anyone who's in fact online at that very time. So as an example, if you happen to be online at, for whatever reason, 2 o'clock in the morning and want to speak to someone drastically about a submission that you're working on, first of all, if you're working at 2 o'clock in the morning, you probably have some peers who are in fact working at 2 o'clock in the morning as well, right? So that's a great tool to kind of stay connected and get instant visibility of who's on Canvas at that very moment. In order to access that, you need to click on chat, and it will give you an indication of the various users who are in fact online. It's almost like Facebook Messenger, I've been told. So do make the most out of the tools, again, that we have at your disposal. Those will come in handy in the future. Going back to the presentation, just gonna skip a few slides here because I feel like we've covered the majority of those, and go straight in the services and support that you have at your disposal, irrelevant of whether you're studying on campus or online. First of all, we have a dedicated team of student services representatives across each and every of our campuses. This team can help you with anything that relates to your enrollment, your subjects, your timetable, things that relates to any sort of inquiries that you may have regarding your course that's non-academic. Do take notice of the various email addresses, perhaps capture that for a screenshot or take a photo of those. You will have access to those throughout your course, but at this very initial stage, I certainly recommend that you capture a few of those just to hit the ground running and successfully transition in the first few weeks of the course. We have a full-time academic support staff member. His name is Elliot. He's usually the go-to person for anything that relates to academic writing. He's in fact going to be teaching critical thinking online, and essentially he's the go-to person for those who may need to brush up things such as referencing skills, may need to brush up how to structure an essay as an example. He will also be introducing you to a platform that each and every of our students have access to, called Studiosity. Studiosity is an online platform that will allow you all to submit draft essays or case studies with a view of getting some feedback before the submission date itself. Studiosity is a great platform and network of scholars that essentially turn around those feedback within 24 hours. As mentioned before, Elliot will introduce you to the tools, will give you some insights around how to leverage those tools, and I certainly recommend that you get in touch with him if you need any sort of academic support throughout your course. We have a librarian. Her name is Matilda. She tends to be across each and every one of our campuses. If you want to borrow a book or have access to certain publications that relates to your research or any of the subjects, do get in touch with her. She certainly will be able to assist you with this. We have a counseling team that each and every of our students can access. You can touch base with them through our support@collards.edu.au email address. And I certainly recommend that you make the most out of this service as well. One, it's free. Two, they are a dedicated team that's at your disposal to support you as well with things that may be happening outside of the classroom. So do take advantage of this service as well. And finally, we have an IT team that's here to assist you with anything that relates to perhaps your IT experience, whether it's through Canvas, it's through your email address, do get in touch with them through our help desk at collards.edu.au, email address if required. For things that relates to, not being able to see a subject as well, copy me in. At least that will provide me additional visibility of things that you may be experiencing, and that will allow me to also follow up on your behalf. So it doesn't hurt, copy me in, and that will give me, some insights and help me help you as well. Everyone managed to take a photo of these or managed to write those email addresses? Fantastic. Can see a few people nodding. I'm going to hand over to Jenny now, who'll be talking to you about a very exciting initiative that you all be able to participate in the very near future. Over to you, Jenny.
Thanks, Bruno. Yes, I'd just like to make you aware that Collards have made a real commitment at the end of 2019 to become a more sustainable workplace and college. And we would like to encourage all our students to make a commitment towards being more sustainable, for 2020. So we have this initiative that is really asking you to make a pledge for how you will personally make either a small change, a large change, or a number of changes in your lifestyle in 2020. So we will give you some more information via your email in the next week or so. But what I would just ask you to have a little look at before you get right into your subjects and get really busy is this website here called anatomyofaction.org. And this was developed with a group called Unschool with the United Nations environmental priorities for the world, really. So it is it was a challenge that ran last September, but all of the ideas in there are still very valid. So I just encourage you to jump onto that website, have a look at how you might be able to make some change, maybe through the food, how you eat, grow your own food, maybe you might want to commit to composting. Maybe you might look at how you move around the place. Maybe, riding your bike to work or school more often. There's lots of different ideas, and it doesn't matter how small it is. Every little bit is going to help. So just something to get you thinking about. As I say, I encourage you to jump onto the website and make a pledge, and we'll be asking you to send that to us in some format so that we can display them on campus. And also what's going to help us in the Collards Sustainability Action Group to sort of focus what our plans are around what you, the students, really want in terms of sustainability. So that's exciting. We're really looking forward to launching this and having some really meaningful outcomes in 2020. So thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. And just to add to that and provide an example, we started a conversation late last year around how to become a much more sustainable organization for a range of brainstorming sessions. And just for tuning in and listening and empowering various people to be part of that conversation, we've realized that we were able to change some very small behaviors or habits with a view of achieving some pretty awesome goals. That resulted in the organization coming together and the marketing funding a range of keep cups and water bottles for both students and staff. So we really value what you have to say, and we really want to hear from you around what your definition and pledge for sustainability is. And hopefully we'll be able to, in the very near future, pick up those conversations and help you and our organization achieve those goals. So watch this space. As Jenny said, that there'll be communication coming your way soon, and really want you to have a say, have a voice, and see those actual goals through as well. So watch this space. Thanks, Jenny. A couple of things that I wanted to bring to attention as well. You will be privy to a range of things happening in the design industry. We've selected those two events just to allow you to save those dates for those who are located in Melbourne, or for those watching that recording, willing to jump on a plane to Melbourne. I certainly recommend that you look at joining us for the Melbourne Design Week and joining us for Den Fair in June 2020. As mentioned before, those are only two of many events that will be either collaborating within or going to with our students. Your lecturers will be literally bombarding you with a bunch of information that relates to their respective subjects. As mentioned before, put your hands up for everything and really use this time with us to craft your own learning experiences that will help you achieve your course career goals. That's it for me. I have a feeling that I've talked a lot, so I'm going to pause for a minute and take any questions that you may have at this point in time. Remember that this is just the beginning of a conversation. Jenny and myself will be at your disposal throughout your studies. So will your lecturers from a subject matter point of view. I do acknowledge that we've covered for a lot of content over the last hour or so, but the first couple of weeks may be overwhelming. So my recommendation is ease into it. Do let us know if we can be of any assistance academically, assistance around time management, assistance around, I guess, making sense of this brand new world, right? Because at the end of the day, your success is our success, as cliche as it may sound, and we're here to support you along that journey. So don't be a stranger, and, do connect with us. Here's our email addresses, and I'm going to stop talking now and take any questions that you may have.
I have a question, Bruno. Chantal here. So I'm just having a look at my calendar for the courses, and I'm having a little bit of trouble working out the actual date and time for the critical thinking course. I've only got two courses. I've got colour exploration and really critical thinking. Can you shed some light on that?
Certainly.
Yeah.
We have a range of different sessions for critical thinking, and those relates to on-campus, online, blended students. Okay. What I might be able to do is have a look at your enrollment, perhaps offline, and get back to you around the exact time and date that you are required to, in fact, be in critical thinking. I'm very aware that what is, in fact, your critical thinking may not be equivalent to ELAs, as an example. So I don't want to throw some information at you right now, just to be on the safe side. Okay. How about I cross-check that and get back to you perhaps in an email first thing tomorrow morning?
Yeah, okay. And does that particular course go for the whole trimester, or is that just a sort of...
It is one of those foundation subjects, and yes, it goes for the whole trimester. Our students have the option to take this subject online, on campus, or in a blended option. And this is a subject that, in fact, will allow a range of students to come together as well. So our design students, as an example, irrelevant of whether they are in interior design or fashion marketing or other design related courses, will be able to come together and participate in this subject together as well.
Yeah, cool.
So I've just made a note, and I'll make sure that I get back to you first thing tomorrow morning with the information that relates to you in particular within this subject. Kirsten, Ella, and anyone else watching the recording at a later stage, if, like Chantel, you want any sort of information that relates to your timetable or things that you may be seeing on Canvas or on a different platform, whether it's an email or something else that doesn't quite make sense, as mentioned before, here's my email address. Do get in touch and we'll navigate through those together. Since we're on that page, I'm just going to take this opportunity to talk about LinkedIn. We recently started a community of like-minded people within our School of Design at Collards. If you are on LinkedIn and want to be part of that conversation, do connect with myself and I happily add you to this actual group. We've just started that conversation, and again, one way to stay connected. Self-compulsory for those that want to take their studies to a whole different level and want to be able to interact as well with other students or our alumni across a variety of design disciplines. So keep that in mind. If you happen to be on Instagram or Facebook, do add us, do connect. Those platforms often provide our students with a range of opportunities, whether those are jobs or things that's happening internally as well. We have an Instagram handle just for our students as well. That's called Collards Mate. Do join in as well and add us if you happen to be on Instagram. You'll be able to have some really good insights on what's happening within our community through that process.
And if you're not on Instagram yet, you probably will need to be very soon. It seems to be the key, social media platform for design, particularly. So I must admit to being a bit of an addict myself. So I'm sure we'll be seeing each other and staying in touch into the future too. Once you've finished your studies, I find it's a way of keeping in touch with a lot of my past students and following their career journeys. So as well as LinkedIn, obviously in a slightly more professional way, but I think it's a great way to keep in touch with people's creative journeys and get a sense of you as creative designers. So definitely, but be careful. It can be a bit of a black hole, as they say. And great one for procrastination, but there you go. So just my 2 cents worth.
I agree. This concludes tonight's session. As mentioned earlier, this session is currently recorded and will be made available as well within your interior design orientation subject. Don't be a stranger. Do connect if you happen to be in Melbourne and you want to drop in. Send us an email. We'll make sure that we're on campus, but there's something here, familiar face to greet you. And we'll just, give you a bit of a tour and make sure that you feel welcome and at home. If you happen to be on holiday, as an example, or spending a few weeks in Melbourne, I'm looking at you here, Kirsten, want to experience what it's like studying on campus as well, do get in touch. We can certainly arrange that.
Awesome. Thanks.
And on campus, we do have some samples of fabrics and different materials, and we're more than happy for you to, access those as well. We have, plenty available, so that will help with some of your assignments. So please, make sure between Bruno and I, either of us will be on campus, every day of the week, Monday to Friday. So love to. It's always great meeting our online students, and especially if you've travelled from interstate. It's great to meet you.
That's it for us. I'm sure that you'll be hearing from Virginia and myself over the next few days. Chantal, I've got on my to-do list to follow up with first thing tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Let's continue that conversation then. And as mentioned earlier, for those watching that recording at a later stage, if we can be of any assistance, do connect with Virginia or myself. And I'm just going to go back to this slide here. Do connect with, our IT team, our librarian, the student services team, if again we can be of any assistance. I'm personally extremely excited about you joining our community, and I can't wait to see you flourish as a designer. And again, your success is our success, so don't be strangers. Let's keep that conversation alive and see where we can, help you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you all. See you soon.
Later.
Bye.
The rest of your night.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.